For a long, I mean, for about as long as I can remember, I had an interest in these sort of things: history, social studies, broadly defined, globalism, global studies. But it seems like that was just, very raw interest at that point, and it only started to get more fully developed into something specific throughout high school and college. And during that time is when my interest started to become more focused. I started to learn more about exactly what I was interested in. So I think it's a combination of the two. And the middle ground was definitely a part of that learning process. By that point, I knew I was interested in global studies, especially in modern history, especially late modern history, East Asia, and this gave me an outlet to more fully explore that, and that also, I guess, helped to influence my decision, in part to move out of Duluth and go to Zhuhai in southeastern China and work there. So I think both of those things are definitely important, having an innate interest and working to further develop that interest into something more specific and concrete.
Yeah, I think there's just like a general uh, just curiosity. There's just curiosity of so many different things that you can explore. I'm leaning towards journalism as something I want to pursue, and a big part of that is because I want to learn about different people and different stories and from various things. And tying that into to history and global studies, like you said, they're very broad. They're broad, and they can encompass a lot. And so, the Middle Ground Journal is it's global studies, and it's not specific area, and so that leads writers and readers to kind of be able to explore what they're curious about and kind of pinpoint that. And so
Cliffhanger.
yeah. Might be low on battery.
I didn't think I talked for 20 minutes.
Yeah, no. Um, I guess we can just keep doing that.
Yeah,
With a few minutes
let's
of
see
cha-
what we get. It's probably good to reset.
Oh, please wait for camera to cool.
Oh.
So,
I know how it feels.
Too hot for
Yeah.
camera to run. That's significant in Duluth.
With the Petrosavolsk students, it was funny because they said, "Oh, it's been so hot here, and it's been a super rainy summer in Petrosavolsk. We're going to be the tannest ones when we get back there. Go to Minnesota as your summer."
Yeah, and we
Summer
have lights
getaway.
and everything.
People are still surprised when you tell them it gets up to like 80, 90. Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, we wear coats all year.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that day without the snow. That was nice.
Yeah.
What was that, July? 4th of July?
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
weird, coincidental, but appropriate.
America brightened up for one day. No, I remember my brother-in-law was asking about Duluth. They were going to come here for a visit, and he was really hesitant about whether he was saying, like, when is it going to be a good time to visit in the summer? And I said, well, yeah, and I was not trying to make a joke or anything. I said, well, like the latest it ever snows is June, since I've lived here, and the earliest was August. And it was like, okay, that's the whole year. But I didn't even realize, like, they did come in July, though.
You helped narrow
So
down
you have
the field,
July.
then.
Good time.
But it was lovely. It was.
Have you guys heard the I Like It in Duluth song? Father Hennepin. One of the lyrics is, "We have summer every year for 2 weeks in July."
An annual summer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a feature.
I was kind of laughing at someone last year they were an incoming freshman, and they thought the winter was just so horrible, and I was like, we haven't had a winter this good in like
Be
10,
winters,
15
yeah.
years. Like, I was like, I am shocked that I could come to school every day, because they don't plow my road.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to leave, I have to wake my dad up and tell him to drive my car off the road, because I don't weigh enough to weigh it down to get off the snow.
Mhm.
Like, they don't plow our road. And she was like telling somebody about how bad it was. I was like, you are not gonna like it, and if we get any kind of real snow in
Just
the next
wait.
couple of years.
This past winter, after the winter before, we did have all those days that it was shut down, it was crazy. And I got like a new coat, and I did all, I had all this stuff in my car, I was like, I'm ready, and then it was,
So nice.
so that's what you have to do, you have to jinx it
Right.
somehow.
But all new snow gear.
Should we give this another shot?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
No, I'm so awkward, I am sitting here like fiddling. So.
Yeah, that's why I keep them like, I gotta stop like
Scratch.
scratching and like. All right, I'm just gonna. I was talking, wasn't I?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
We're gonna keep that in. We're gonna make it
Yeah.
seamless.
Talking about how it relates to our major
Yeah.
interests.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think I gravitate towards journalism just because I have a high level of curiosity about a lot of things, and that's global studies, history that embraces that, because it is very broad, and the journal itself isn't specific towards all the articles aren't about a certain location or a certain trade. It's not so focused like some are, and that's I think a strength, because you can go in from reading someone's family history to their experience in Spain to like you said, like a courthouse in their hometown. So it's very broad, and it, as the point has been made several times, but there's a real ownership in the writer when it's something they care about and are interested in.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it really fosters the general level of curiosity, the high level of curiosity held by many students that are editors or contributors.
One of the key missions of the Middle Ground Journal and the North Star Reports is to bring students from all different kinds of disciplines. Like we have science, like biochem, exercise phys, nursing majors that contributes to the Middle Ground Journal, as well as like English majors, history majors, global cultural language studies majors, etc. And I think it's just further honing the point that, our world, everything is kind of a web of interconnected processes. You can use, for example, like your theory of economics and apply it to, or your economic studies and apply it to like the Greece crisis right now. Or if you have medical background, you can just kind of look at some of the like health problems within your own community, or go to another country or study abroad and apply that knowledge there. So it just really shows that there aren't those strict dividing boundaries that say, okay, this is this discipline, you need to only study this. You can expand your horizons.
Yeah, I like that, because even at St. Scholastica, it's like the science building and the humanities building. But like oftentimes a lot of, you're biochem, so you're in science, but you really find this stuff interesting and fascinating and want to use your, curiosity about global studies to write and do more humanities things. So it's a good outlet for, science majors who also have these interests.
I think we keep talking about, connecting with the middle schoolers and high schools, and I think that's kind of an important thing to do, is to look at history, look at global studies in kind of a different light. Like, I'll admit it openly, I hated history all the way up until halfway through my history class with Lang. And he happened to change my mind, and I'm shocked that he could do it, but like a lot of people think that all it is sitting and reading textbooks. And it's not. It's so much more than that. It's observing, it's making connections, it's talking to people. There's so much more like personal levels, and then again the whole big picture too. Like, there's so many different ways and interests and places that you can look and be at when you're working on stuff like that. So I think with the middle schoolers and high schoolers, I think it's really good to show them, you know, it's not just sitting here and reading a textbook. There's so many different things you can do with it.
I think for the undergrads too, it's good for bridging to beyond that, because, I mean, I know my idea of an academic journal still, you know, traditionally would be a lot of doctorates who have a long history in their field and they're, you know, at this or that university and they've specialized in something very narrow for, you know, 20, 30, 40 years, and you don't see that broad perspective, and it seems sort of distant and unattainable, and, you know, by working through this, you sort of see the publishing process, and you see the peer review process, and you see editing, and, you know, we're not claiming, the North Star Reports is, you know, specifically non-academic, and it's much more conversational in tone. It's not meant to be a textbook. It's meant to be, you know, sort of another bridge where it's more accessible and easy to identify with for someone who is in K through 12 or undergrad. But it also does kind of show you, well, this is, you know, the history that you thought was just in textbooks. Here's how it got there. Here's how it was made. That this is what a historian does, or this is what a sociologist does, or, you know, to kind of get you into the practical instead of the theoretical, because even as an undergrad, it still feels like, you know, when do I get to do something? You know, you study and you take it in, and maybe you write papers and you do some response, but, you know, when you're actually doing your own research or doing your own writing process, that's when it feels like you are making something and working with those ideas.
Right, and you write papers, but you and the professor read them. So, you know, you put a lot of work into those, so it's something you can put work into, and
Yeah.
you can have a broader readership. And I think it is neat that, I mean, they're peer-reviewed, so you don't often get to have your work peer-reviewed, which is neat.
I think it's less daunting too, because everybody has their own style, but the general piece, I'd say, is like 3 to 5 paragraphs, like maybe a page or two at most. So it's not you don't have as much pressure to say, okay, I need to write a 25-page paper.
Yeah.
Where do I start?
Don't
And
do it.
yeah, yeah. Go nuts. But so I think that's one of the things where it's just easier to free flow and to just really get into it and not be so. I think self-critical. You just kind of. I mean, the writers do a top-notch job, but there's less of that pressure on themselves that, okay, I need to get like an A on this. So
Yeah.
it's
Or
kind of.
what do they want me to write?
Yeah, which I think often becomes
Yeah.
a chore, and that kind of loses that inspiration through that process. And plus, if anything, you can write a piece, and it's a start that if you want to revisit that topic, whether that's in a neighboring piece or whether that is in that 20-page academic article, you have a wonderful starting point.
And we do have some ongoing series, and I know, Ellie, you've worked with one of our fellow editors who is writing a series about you know, globalization and soft power and issues like that. But you can have these series where you break it down into maybe, you know, essentially a chapter and keep going through. But it is as schedules allow. You know, if you have a really demanding semester, then to be continued. We'll just, you know, move that down. But it does allow you to at least get that start. And then on the editor's side, you know, all of us have written and edited, you know, all of the student editors. So it is that personal consideration where on the one hand we have all the sympathy in the world for how hard it is to write and how maybe reluctant you are to hand it over, and you know, you think, oh well, I regret it, and it lives on in the internet eternally. Oh.
I'm a little intimidated with Abraham Lincoln staring at me. Can you see him
looking
from
at
where you're
me.
sitting? You're looking. You're right. Lincoln's looking at you.
Yeah, you got MLK.
Yep.
Just keeping us honest.
I don't know, Kennedy, he's like, whatever. It's interesting
Have fun,
expression.
guys.
He looked like he's trying to like maybe pull a smolder, but
He has
it's
a
not
smirk
quite
for
there.
sure.
MLK
Where is
looks
it?
angry.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the thing, it's like MLK and JFK. I mean, well, not JFK, just MLK looks pretty, he looks intense, but he looks like welcoming too, but that's.
I don't know. I feel like he's scolding me.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't
Yeah,
know. From
because
this
he's
angle, I feel
looking more
scolded.
at
Oh,
you.
okay.
He's just like.
I feel like he's
Oh, it
like
kinda has the
really,
eyebrow, like-
really
Mm-hmm.
this again. That's how it makes me feel.
I think
Or
Robert
like I just like
Kennedy?
ate his cookie.
Oh,
or
is
something.
he's hiding.
He's hiding, yeah.
Who's back there?
Robert Kennedy.
Oh.
Probably poking John.
So do you have 3 boys, Kathryn?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
How old are they?
17, 14, and 11.
Nice.
So every.
You look way too young.
Growing
No, it's a compliment.
But yeah, I don't know. Getting to the point where I was glad to graduate. My son is already doing college courses, so I got out right before he started college courses. And it was terrible. It was on the one hand it was really nice that I was so current on here's how you kind of manage the schedule, and okay, email your professor about this, and then I was fully in that
Mode.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I saw that this is preposterous.
Not supposed to be doing this.
But I just beat him. I got out.
Nice.
I have to finish law school before he does. And he's got 2 years to jump on his college degree.
Oh, that's so awesome.
It'll be really good. And
Yeah.
he actually, for he wants to study math and physics.
Mm.
So, the U is maybe not, it's not bad, but it's more like applied physics and stuff. It's more what they specialize in. And he's definitely astrophysics, calculations kind of.
Is he gonna have to switch then?
So he's thinking of the U. He's sort of like, and that would be, really nice if he can just continue there.
Right.
But, we're sort of trying to keep him from getting comfortable because he likes it, and he's happy that he got into the PSEO program there because he was doing it here at Duluth U of D,
Oh.
and now he's going to be at the Twin Cities campus, and that's really hard to get into.
Oh.
From just it's such a wider
A lot of
group.
applicants, yeah.
So he was really happy that he got it, and training him. Okay, you still are going to be writing applications and stuff, right?
Right.
You're gonna do that, right? Because he could just stay there. And I don't know. On the one hand, I mean, I don't want him to ever go, and sad, weepy, mommy.
Right.
Thinking.
Keep them in the nest.
But I think he's kind of ready to go, and I don't want him to. I don't know.
Like miss an opportunity because he
Yeah.
feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause he's doing really well. He could write his own ticket. Wherever he
Awesome.
wants to go, he could go.
Yeah. Well, that's what mom and dad are for.
Yeah.
We'll push, shove, shove.
I don't know. My parents let me stay. They were pretty hesitant. I just moved out this summer.
Oh, really? Yeah,
my
that's how
parents
my
live
parents
15
were
minutes
too.
away from here. Just save money. We don't care. We don't care that you're here. Save money. You don't have to have rules. Just save money. And I'm like,
Oh, well, that's one thing. I'm not
I'm kinda
paying
sick of
for it,
you.
so it's gonna be his problem.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
in law school right now.
Pass the torch.
Yeah, this is gonna be, where is the scholarship? So,
Yeah,
They're out
I
there.
still fill out scholarships.
yeah.
all the time.
Oh, no, I mean, I know everyone has to cobble things together, but, so we'll follow the money will be part of it, because
Oh, yeah.
I'm not, so we'll see how all that pans out.
Right. No, that's a big aspect.
Because it will be future, my son is Jimmy also.
Oh.
Future Jimmy's problem, not mine. He'll be paying for it himself later.
As it should be, I think.
I think it's a good,
Really learning.
you
experience.
should be invested in it if you don't want to go and don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, right. That's a different topic of.
Yeah.
We'll hit that at the next round
Sit
table
down.
couch discussion.
All right.
Was I saying? I was saying something. Now we're all gonna look so daffy.
I don't remember who was speaking.
Good. That's the thing. The momentum was high, and like the energy was especially. It was. Crap, what was it?
Yeah,
I really like that we all use our own pictures on the articles.
yeah.
I think that makes them especially unique. A brand new photo on there that's never existed before.
Mhm. And it's I think something that I don't know how much other people appreciate, but that it is open source and it is that model of where writers retain all the rights to their words and to their pictures, but that it will be shared. I think that fits in with the philosophy really well of the journal and
Mhm.
of the openness and of the bigger mission of education. So
Right.
it's neat because it motivates people to provide their own and to start looking at just composing your piece as a whole, that I will say this and then this would be a good picture and I hope that I can, find this graphic to go with it. It's sort of part of that crafting it in your mind, but it is also just a neat aspect of the journal that all the graphics, all the words are, original or shared.
Mhm.
I think, one thing I would be interested to ask you two about, I know you do a lot more of our social media editing, or have been more involved in that. I mean, like you said, you actually respond to comments. I'm terrible. I don't. I read them. I do read them. I think they're really interesting. But then, I don't know. I would rather write it and then shrink away and drop it and run before it blows up. But just that aspect of it where, on our Facebook page, we're annotating articles and sort of directing people. And then sometimes you will get, you'll see themes emerge where one person will do an article about, the name of this town and some controversy there, and someone else will find an article about the same thing happening somewhere else or something like that. And it's a neat part of it, but it's one that I think will become a stronger emphasis going forward than it has been so far. I don't know if you see that as being a big part of it, or I guess one thing I wonder about is, how it does fit into the larger idea of that it's a conversation that maybe, you would be reading these pieces when you're in high school, but then you could write one once you think you've got the hang of it while you're still in high school or once you've gone to college. But, the idea that you are participating even before you're writing, or even before you're an intern, or even before you're editing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm really old school and I really don't like Facebook. I don't really have a big role in that, but I see the merit and I see that the younger generation just lives on social media. So and a lot of them get a good portion of their news from social media. So if we're there, if we're putting interesting things about global studies and helping guide them to see, what we think it's about, I think that's really important, and it might actually be a larger piece of the Middle Ground Journal going forward. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, the digital literacy half
Right.
of.
yeah, I think it's just in its beginning stages and not really sure where it's going to go, but I mean, it's important to be where younger,
Yeah.
middle school, high schoolers are, if that's who we're trying to reach.
I think that it's a really great resource. I haven't started posting on the Facebook. Like I said, I'm brand new. I haven't done any of that yet. But for me personally, I read all kinds of articles on Facebook. I follow 2 different local newspapers in Duluth on Facebook, and I follow groups that I support, so National Down Syndrome Society, places like that, people that I've been involved with, volunteered for, worked at in the past, all kinds of things like that. So whenever they share interesting articles that pertain to them, I'm seeing those articles, and then I'm seeing news articles and all kinds of different things. So I do think it's a really great way to reach people, just because it's so easy. Like, it's for, like, I have Facebook on my phone, and I have a couple other news apps on my phone. So if I'm, 20 minutes early for something, and I'm just sitting waiting, that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna go look and see what new articles are up, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Facebook, or is, I don't know if anyone uses AOL anymore, but they have those like news pages and stuff like that.
I think our Facebook page has, for the Middle Ground journals and then the North Star Reports Facebook
Mhm.
page has thousands of
Mhm.
people who like it, and so there's a wide audience of not just Scholastica students that
Yeah.
are reading it. I mean, it's people who were interested in it and decided to give it a like and probably stay because the interns are finding and annotating really interesting pieces about global studies, and so in doing that has grown quite dramatically
Mhm.
pretty quickly, especially the North Star reports where it's a lot of that.
I think just personally coming from an assistant editor, I like it because it gives you a sense of discipline where, just to remember to make sure that you're reading up on the news and also to,
It's hot in here.
It's getting shorter and shorter every time.
How should we wrap it up? Not saying that we should now, but
Yeah.
I was just kind of thinking of that.
Well, yeah, if we want to give it a few minutes to cool off, I guess I'm not sure, what all topics we want to be sure that we hit, but let's,
Let's be sure we hit them.
yeah. I think, I honestly, I still have that crippling sense of, well, shut up, no one wants to hear. Like, I'm trying not to just ramble to fill space, but then I find myself doing that and regretting it. So, I'm not sure what I can contribute. I know from you guys, I am interested to hear sort of, what you would like to do with it or what you envision doing with it. And, I think it would be, interesting if you could say a little something about what your expectations were when you got on board and what you think of how it's going.
Okay, yeah.
I guess that's the things that I'm curious about from you guys is sort of, is this what you signed up for?
Yeah, I think that would be a good question. Or like, where do you see it?
Yeah.
Where would you like to see it go in the future,
Mhm.
kind of?
and it's like, I'm just curious, I think for the current students, it's like, we've kind of gone over this a little bit, but how do you use it? How was like your involvement aided you in other classes or other aspects of your life? Then I think for the graduated students, like how are you going to kind of continue this? Like whether it's direct involvement or just
Read it or
yeah,
whatever.
or like even if you kind of abandon the Middle Ground Journal, which none of us should, but like how
Not advocating for that.
but like what lessons would you take with you?
Yeah. No, that is a funny thing. We've had, I think we've had a couple of people formally say, relationship is over.
Please send a notarized letter.
Yes. Sign on receipt, acknowledge, and tear up the
I shall not be
contract.
contacted.
And it's still, little do they know that they're welcome back at any time.
Right.
Because it is one of those things where, there's not like a term where you start, you don't say, okay, you're going to be an intern from this to that, and then now we're done and you've graduated. So, yeah, I don't know if people know that when they sign on, but you are now in.
For life.
No one has
Contract
ever
shall
escaped.
terminate upon death received.
Yeah.
There are 3 things certain in life: death, taxes, and your position in the Middle Ground Journal.
If you die,
There you
we
go.
want to report. We're flexible on the deadline, but
Reflect on what it was like. What
take
was the meeting of
photos.
your life?
Oh, that's one thing I have been told. I must take pictures of all the like for
Don't you think the
Facebook
video is
after this.
enough?
No. So we'll have to do some photos to him for that. I don't know.
We should do something silly, like in all the photos, have like some thing in the background and see if he notices.
I wish that we had like the blue dog as our like a stuffed animal form.
We could just go find his head.
Yeah.
The mascot.
That's probably not for Facebook though. Maybe.
Or we can just pick someone who just like, they'll all be really nice photos, and then one of us will just photobomb in the background.
Is there like a poster with Storm on it, like for admissions, or like a
There must be, or over in Burns.
BWC?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could just go print it, not that far.
See, before I
Talking-
came,
What are we talking about, goals?
Yeah.
I think
Everyone behave again for a few minutes.
I think Lang is probably the one person on campus that's really embraced Storm.
What?
Yeah, I don't recall it being a major part of my
No.
time here.
It's not like a Goldie the Gopher or anything
Yeah.
like that. It's but didn't
No, I'm impressed when people know its name. So.
yeah.
He's in the periphery.
When we did the choir trip, we gave out T-shirts if people can answer trivia questions, and so we had asked everybody what our mascot was, and people, every single time, the first person said, "Devils," because they just thought it was funny. But then like nobody could figure it out, and whoever the girl happened to be who was asking, because it was the Bella Roche, would say, "I'll give you a hint. I'm asking you the mascot of Saint Scholastica," and then people still wouldn't even get anywhere close. It was really funny.
before I came to Scholastica, like I thought that the mascot would be basically this like action figure with a halo above his head,
Yeah,
like a saint,
a
like a
saint,
real
yeah.
saint,
Or
but
like
just
a
buffed
nun,
up.
that'd be good.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's a Saint Bernard. Aha.
I went to Catholic elementary school and we voted on a mascot for our like basketball team, and it was a Saint Bernard, but you couldn't tell what it was because it was only like the outline of it. It was really
The hulking
yeah. It was just like it looked like one of those things doctors would hold up just in a smudge. Yeah.
Yeah.
The smudges.
What do you see?
So, moving forward, I guess I
Oh, yeah.
don't care about the thing that I said before. So, I guess one thing that I'm wondering about for current graduates, or can I say that again? One thing that I'm wondering for current students, like how has the Middle Ground Journal helped you in other areas of your life, whether that's through academics, whether it's just how you view the world in other activities, etc.
I think it really kind of makes me think about the everyday things a lot more. Like when I was trying to come up with article ideas at first, I really struggled. Like I couldn't think of anything. But then after a while, after I read a lot of other people's articles, I started seeing the kind of things that I could do. Like, I never realized how, I guess, unique it is of how much homemade food my family makes. Apparently people don't make homemade bread and noodles and stuff anymore, and we do a lot of that. And then things that happen in the community. Like I've lived in Duluth my whole life, so every once in a while I'll reference something like the Duluth flood happened a few years ago, and people who are here don't usually know about that. So like, oh, what happened? And like, and I'll have good stories about it and stuff like that. So I guess it just helps me think about things in kind of a different light and think of everyday things and things that just happen because they do in a more educational light. And then of course the real, for me it's always been really the family connection, because that's still kind of what I've been writing a lot about is family history stuff. So it gives me something to bring to the dinner once a month and share with everybody, and everybody can be excited about it and share memories and share new stories.
Well, I guess for me, it's actually less about the work and more about the connection to St. Scholastica and to a group of people whom I share similar interests with. I graduated in 2009, and I just loved Professor Leong, and so it's just a really good connection. Like I wouldn't be here at St. Scholastica right now with you guys talking about this if I wasn't still a part of the group. So
Well, I can say, you know, that for me, I really wasn't, you know, I'm not going into education, and I was pretty sure, you know, that